The individual who answers, within the first 10 seconds, they'll build up an image of you. It's something that takes time. Like one of our new sales reps, his whole thing was he was stuck on the fact, no one wants it, no one wants it, no one wants it. But that's not necessarily true. You don't want it, right?
It's like you get so fixated on the outcome that you forget to just listen to people.
That you can't stop, especially in the beginning. You have to keep pushing and pushing. So when things are great, when things are, the business is doing amazing, that's when you need to double down. You need to go all in. Building momentum off of past experiences can help you overcome any current obstacles that's, at hand. Making those connections, you don't only just ensure that there's a chance they will, refer you to others. You ensure there's a chance you'll get their business again.
No matter how passionate you are, there's going to be times where it's hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long-Term Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Villa. Today, we have a driven entrepreneur who started in solar sales before launching his own window cleaning and exterior service business. In just a few months, he built a team, expanded services across Alberta, and generated over $80,000 in revenue. Alex's story is all about hustle, risk-taking, and turning ambition into real results. Everybody welcome Alex Wyner. We will discuss sales, discipline, and building a brand. Alex is a person that I greatly admire. He had a thought of starting a business and executed, and now it is very successful, and they're thinking about expanding to other areas, and they are doing extremely well. This podcast episode will be just about grit, discipline, and just doing it, starting and executing. And yeah, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you think about starting a business, or if you just want to be more disciplined, this podcast is for you. Everybody, welcome Alex Wyner. Enjoy.
Right, man. Welcome to the Long-Term Podcast.
Appreciate you having me, man. Thanks for having me on.
Alex Wyner, everyone.
Nice to meet you.
So what do you think separates a good salesperson from a great one, especially in door-to-door sales?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of defining factors between the difference of the two. A good sales rep they're always focused on a few things, that mostly being on their pitch. They're super focused that there's a recipe or a formula for success, that there's these magic words you'll say when you knock on those doors and that people will buy. And sometimes that's the case. Sometimes, you can have a perfect pitch, you'll get a lot of sales. But the big difference is the great salespeople, they tailor their pitch to every person. And what I kind of mean by that is when you first knock on those doors, the individual who answers, within the first 10 seconds, they'll build up an image of you, and they'll either trust you, they won't trust you. And your job as a great salesman is to have the image that wants to be seen, that you're the guy who's coming and actually providing value to them, right? So if you just come to the door and just spew, hey, I'm just selling this, whatever, you're going to have people who will buy it. But if you come to the door and actually, build value, there'll be people who weren't interested whatsoever, but then they'll see the value, right? You tailor yourself to the individual, and that's what becomes greatness in sales. That's honestly what I would say. That's the biggest difference between the two. And I'd also just say, a good salesman, they're very fixed on a mindset. They're not adaptable to, new concepts and learning new things. They're very fixed that everything has to be one way. There's only one way to sell things. But a great salesperson, they're willing to, try out things. When you knock on the doors, it's all really data, right? A great person takes it as data. Someone, they yells at you, they do this and that. Okay, then they learn, how can I change differently next time, right? I had 5 people get mad at me for this today, 2 not, 4 people bought at this point of the pitch. You use that as data.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you tailor your pitch towards the individual.
Right.
And how would you go about
tailoring that? Like, because every single person's going to be different. It's like, do you have like a protocol before? Do you prepare? And I know there's like certain archetypes, right?
Yeah.
So how do you go about that?
I mean, there's a lot of things to it. So like when you first walk up to a house, you can kind of tell a lot about the person. You know what I mean? Like one of the things I really like to do is I look for, there's a cool car or a cool sign. You try and give them a compliment as quick as you can. Try and be personable. It's honestly just basing it off what you see. That's a lot of it. And how they react. Because when you knock on the door, someone could be cooking, they could be sleeping, anything, right? So you have to just be able to read the room and read it quickly and then respond based off that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when they come out all angry at you, how do you go about that?
I mean, sometimes it is what it is. There's just not much you can do. If they're really angry, they're not even going to listen to you. I try, like, one thing I really like to do when they come out, I'll be like, hey, like, I understand you're a busy person. Just a quick second of your time here. And then I'll, kind of start leading up my pitch there. But just to emphasize that, you respect that you're interrupting their day and that you are not going to take up much of their time. I think just show them that you respect them when they're angry. That helps a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say to the people that say that door-to-door sales doesn't work, that it's a thing of the past? Because there's like Google, if people really wanted your service, then they'd go search it up online.
Yeah. I mean, the perfect example is there's ads. That's all a form of like door-to-door type of sales. It's all sales coming right up in your face, something that you weren't really particularly looking for. Yet, why is everyone still doing it? Why are ads, at the peak? Why is there, all kinds of content online? People are making short form content to sell things. It's a fixed mindset. If you truly believe, it's a thing of the past, then that's on you. But if you actually like put beliefs into something, like you'll understand over time, if that kind of makes sense. Like, it's something that takes time. Like one of our new sales reps, his whole thing was he was stuck on the fact, oh, no one wants it, no one wants it, no one wants it. But that's not necessarily true. You don't want it, right? And I think it's not for everyone, door-to-door sales. Like for a lot of people, it just won't work if you do it. You just have to believe in yourself, I think. And I think with self-belief comes results.
Yeah. I mean, I got a buddy and he sells pest control.
Right.
And I actually worked with him for a couple weeks, and I know it's one of the hardest jobs out there.
Oh yeah.
Mentally, at least.
Yeah.
Because you go through all these different houses and you go through 100 houses, you maybe get one.
Right.
But it's all a numbers game, right? Because let's say you go through 100 houses and you get one, that's an average. Then if you go through 200, you'll get 2. 300, you'll get 3.
Right.
And eventually you'll get better and better. So maybe after every 50 houses, you'll get 1. And I've been around kind of the culture in there.
Right.
And it's not for everyone, man, because a lot of guys, the best of the very best, will go through a neighborhood selling pest control and they'll sell 3, even after a person that has already been in there in the same team, which is, like, how does this work? And the big dogs out there, right? Like they were selling like 4 or 5 a day, and the commission on that was like $250, man. And it just baffled me. But when I was going through it too, it wasn't for me. I mean, I could have added more effort in it, and I could have, and I respect the guys that can do it, and kudos to you, for sticking with it. And I know you did solar.
Yeah. For
a long time. Or how long did you go do solar?
I actually didn't do it for too long at all. Yeah. I did solar for about a month and a half before Yes.
Well, how did your experience in solar sales help you develop the confidence and communication skills to start your own business?
Yeah, man. Solar was the best starting ground that I could have had. The door-to-door sales industry, it's a lot different than selling window cleaning, gutter cleanings, or pest control, because you're not selling like an item that's like $200 or $300. You're selling a whole system that's going on your roof, right? And the thing with the solar industry is everyone has predetermined beliefs. They think, from the past that it's super expensive and all these things. And what I think comes with that is it helps you learn to be able to, express your thoughts and your opinions and, express it to people so they can actually see, well, no, it's different. It's different nowadays. And you learn different pitch styles. You learn how to address different objections people have, because all these objections, all of them aren't even necessarily true anymore, right? So I think starting in an industry that people had so many beliefs already on allows me to become a lot better of a salesperson, right? Because I learned, okay, how do I respond to people who don't want something whatsoever or already think negatively about it, right? And I think what also, one of the big things that working in that industry was I was working with so many like-minded people, right? So when I was in like solar at Firefly, I met some of the greatest dudes like I've met, and they were all very similar to me. We all had the same goals, the same mindset. And I think that just really helped fuel me. And, so much so to put in place, it did, because two of the people that I met while working on solar, they actually owned a window cleaning company. And when I stopped working for solar, I actually worked for them for a few days. And from learning and doing window cleaning from that's what led me to my whole journey now. So I think just the company itself and like that type of industry, you learn so many skills and just the people around you that I think it was so beneficial to me.
And you also did door to door for your window cleaning.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of how you went about, like you extracted a lot of the knowledge that you had with solar, and then you applied it to your own business.
Right.
And like being around kind of guys with the same mentality, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example, for instance. So one of my good buddies, Rafid, we were both working on the team together. And, every day we'd pretty much put out the same numbers. We'd get the same amount of solar appointments set. And the team would run competitions. And it ended up fueling us so much because every day we're like, okay, well, he's beating me, or I'm ahead. And it just fueled us to keep on going. And I think being around people like that are pushing you and helping, push each other, it really helps you bring out the best version of yourself when you're working.
Yeah. It's when you see a friend or somebody in your field like put up numbers, right? Whether it be in academia, maybe they're getting 4.0 every single year, or maybe you're at the gym and they're pushing that extra rep, or when you're running and they seem to be in immense pain, but you're with them and you're also in pain, but you see that they're pushing as well.
Yeah.
And you just want to be able to up them, right? And that just healthy competition is so valuable when it comes to like building character, right? Because when you see your friend go about it and you're kind of on the same playing field, you go, is this my mindset just out of whack? Like, because like when you go through the thick of it, right, when you're in like immense pain, whether it be just because life is tough and you're doubting yourself and all this stuff, and then you see this person with the same circumstance as you making it work, it's like, maybe I need to change the mental milieu that I have in here, right? Because you could go about it and go, yeah, no, I'm a piece of shit. Like, this sucks. Like, why am I doing this? And that same mentality is net negative to your productivity, right? Or you could go about it, yeah, I'm great. I can do this. I can do better. And you can have the same actions, and one can propel you to succeed and one can't, and it's easier said than done, because when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to be able to just tune that down, right?
Yeah.
How do you go about the mentals when things get tough?
Yeah. Honestly, I think you need to ground yourself. You need to, when things are getting tough, you need to really remember what it's like when it's going good. When you're really struggling on the doors. And, at the same time, though, I think it's okay, if things are tough to take a break for a bit. But when things are going tough, I think that's when you need to push yourself the most. Because if you're able to, pass those times and, push through those, that's where you will excel, right? Because when you're put in those situations, those hard situations, if you can essentially teach yourself to push past them,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you'll find results, right? Because if you are able to constantly, like for instance, on the doors, when someone yells at you and figure out a workaround how to, envision on what they want you to see, I think that's where you can find a lot of results. If that kind of is answering your question there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could have a narrative
Mhm.
of someone and go, oh, they just hate me and I suck at this. Or you could go, oh, I'm interrupting them and maybe there's something that I can improve on.
Right.
Right? Was it the tone of my voice? Maybe I knocked too hard. Maybe it was my fit. Maybe there's always something you can control. By focusing on what you can control,
Right.
you are in control. You are the driver versus if you just chalk it up to, yeah, it's just there's nothing I can do. And how do you does that like, do
Yeah.
you kind of go about it the same way?
Yeah. I think treat every objection, treat every scenario as a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Like as you were kind of saying there, you reflect on what went wrong and you learn, okay, what can I do differently next time? How can I, as you said, put myself in the driver's seat there, take control of the situation?
Mm-hmm. Can you share moments where a sale didn't go your way, but taught you a valuable lesson about resilience or strategy?
Yeah. It actually goes back to, I'd say with solar, in one of my first weeks, or it actually was my first week, I was speaking to these homeowners for, over an hour. And by that point, I thought, it was a laydown that it was going to happen. I had already set them up for a solar appointment. But what I didn't really realize in the end was I wasn't listening. I was just spewing out everything I said, or everything I thought, and just pitching them on the whole idea. But they weren't actually truly interested. They enjoyed talking to me. It was great. We talked for over an hour, but I wasn't actually hearing what the customer needed. And, long story short, the solar guy who comes in, who deals with the appointments, he comes and talks to them and they really had no interest. They didn't even know like what much about it was. And, to me, I failed in that sense. Right. But what I took from this and how I learned was I need to be able to listen to the customers, right? It ties back to my point before, being a good versus a great salesman. You got to learn to be what others want to be, like see.
Mhm.
And like in that scenario, like I need to truly listen to them. These people, one of the big issues was they weren't going to be living there for more than 5 years. So it made absolutely no sense, to have them get solar. But I was so fixed on the idea, okay, I got to pitch this and spit it out. I wasn't actually sitting back and listening, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like you're just so focused in the pitch itself and trying to get from point A to point B that you totally missed the journey. You totally missed the process, right?
Right.
And in the process, there was something that they were trying to tell you and you totally missed it. Like you just went over your head. And
Yeah.
it's like, yes, it was you had a good talk with them. It was positive, but at the same time, you're wasting each other's time.
It was. It honestly was.
I've had that too, man, where it's like you get so fixated on the outcome that you forget to just listen to people.
Yeah.
Right? You forget to just reflect on what they're talking about because you just go and you don't sit there and think. You don't absorb what they're saying. It's like going to living in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Like some of us just like talk to talk, right? Whether it be, we just want to get them to, we just want them to hear us out, but it has to work both ways. That's with all relationships. Otherwise it crumbles. If you have a relationship, like long form, right? Even like short-term relationships, a lot of it is futile if you don't actively listen to the person, even if it's the transactional, right? Because everybody's trying to look out for each other. Like how does this benefit me? What value? Okay, maybe compassion, or like what is this service? How does this service help me? Because at the end of the day, I'd like to think that everybody is trying to sacrifice, and trying to give that helping hand. But at the end of the day, everybody's looking out for them, right? Because there's families out there. There's many people that have kids, and they rely on them to be able to put food on the table. And if you're spending this much money on this, that means less money for food and less money for the utility bills, for vacations, for good times, for presents, right? And I'm always cognizant of that. But how much, so with the appointments, so when you went door knocking, the goal was to set up an appointment with them, right? Because you couldn't, I know hearing from Dinkar, you couldn't just sell them at the door. Because it's like, how much was it for the solar panels?
So there's no like price you necessarily like pay for the whole panels. I don't know how their whole thing's working now because they had a whole loan program that I know went away. But at least with solar, it was more like you base it off your usage and then the amount of panels you get. And then you kind of pay like a monthly payment. So you swap out your electric bill for a new solar bill.
And then on average, like how much?
It's such a ballpark because some people use such like, large different amounts of electricity, but I'd say 250. But it, once again, like there's a single family home.
250,000.
No, $250 a month.
$250 a month, like for the solar panels to be built.
So you essentially like are leasing them for a while and then they pay off. If that kind of makes sense. So the total price, let's say, okay, it's $20,000, but over 10 years. So you're paying like $180 a month, right? Over those 10 years. So you don't actually pay nothing up front. That's kind of how it worked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And as for commission for you, how much did you get once you got somebody locked in?
I'll be honest with you. I never managed to get a deal to close when I was working with solar.
Oh, geez.
So I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact numbers. I think the average was like $800 to $1,000 you get for a system sold.
Okay.
But again, that's why I eventually moved on to another industry. It was a great industry for me. I just wasn't finding much results in it. But yeah.
But yeah, you put in your best. Right?
I mean, I'd say so. I'd hope I did.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a bit about your company that you started right after.
Yeah.
Because I know, how long have you been in the company now for?
It's been about 5 months now, almost. So four and a half. End of October will be 5 months.
Oh, wow. And you've seen exponential growth, right?
Yeah. Between June, July, August, we doubled our revenue every single month.
All right. And to put that in numbers, how much is that?
We're getting pretty close to 100,000 in revenue now. Probably by the end of next week, we should hit that.
Revenue. And how much does it take home for you?
So I have a business partner, but between me and him, I'd say about 50%. So 50,000 this summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
So starting your own company takes serious discipline, right? How do you stay consistent and motivated when results take time?
Yeah. It kind of goes back to before is you got to use that motivation to fuel you, right? So it's hard to stay motivated, but you have to remember, what it was like when things were great. When you're down, you got to know, okay, what was I doing to make things be great? And that's what really motivated me. We went through phases in the business where we got too comfortable. We were making enough money to pay the bills that we had no desire to, go out there and knock more doors or hire more people to work for us, that we were just too comfortable. And it came to bite us in the ass because then things started to go wrong. And because we were not pushing for anything more, we were just going on a downhill trajectory. So what I kind of learned from that is that you can't stop, especially in the beginning. You have to keep pushing and pushing. So when things are great, when things are, the business is doing amazing, that's when you need to double down. You need to go all in even more. And like, it is okay to take breaks and, enjoy what you're building. But I think you really need to use like your success to fuel you when you're having failures. And you need to remember that the second you become too comfortable with what you have is the second you will start losing what you have.
Yeah. To get to a place where you can retire early and you can give back to the community requires so much sacrifices. And like there's all this talk of balance, right? But it usually comes from the people that have made it. But if you ask them what they did in their 20s, they'll tell you, it wasn't healthy balance. It was just every single day you grind, you sleepless nights, and you get after it. And when things are great, right, it's like, oh, maybe I should take my foot off the gas pedal. That's when you need to double down.
You need to push on it harder.
Yeah, because it's like, oh man, you're seeing all this progress, right? And you want to be able to double that. And there's this thing too where it's like, oh, it's never going to be enough. So I think establishing objectives as well, and because there's this hungry ghost kind of mentality, right, where it's never enough, and that could kind of get into your happiness and like seep your like plague your sense of what's successful. And there's always habits in my routines in my daily life to ensure that doesn't happen, because I'm same as you, where I want to be able to keep on going, with this podcast, with my health, with finances. I want to be able to keep on pressing the acceleration. What daily habits or routines have been most crucial to your success in sales and business growth?
Yeah. It's funny. A lot of it is from Dinkar, what's helped me. One of the things he kind of taught me was like every day, and I still follow it to this day, I write down like 3 goals and my 3 whys. And the reason why you write down your whys is if you keep writing this down every day, you write down, why am I doing this, right? You write down the true reasons are, why am I grinding my ass off all day? Why am I putting in all this work? And then you also put in your goals. Well, what am I trying to achieve, right? And I think by, keeping this a part of your routine every day, the reasons why you're doing it, and being able to see, what you're trying to push for, it really motivates you to keep going forward. And, like obviously I'm not going to act like I've done it every day. There's been days where I've missed it, but there's been so many days where I've been so down, and I will open up my notebook and keep writing in it. And it really motivates me. Like I'll flip through all the pages and I'll just see like the goals I've already achieved and I've changed, and I can see the results already speaking for itself.
Yeah. It's like I forget what the idea is actually called, but like the levels of why, right? Where you go, why do you go to school? Okay, to get an education. Why do you want to get an education? It's because I want to have money. Why do you want to have money? So I can feed my family, help out my parents, give back. Why do you want to do that? Because they've done so much for me. Why do you want to do that? Because I've always been the type of person. And the more you go about your why and you keep asking why, right, the more things become deeper and deeper. And when you keep asking that question of why do you do any of this, the more you are empowered, right? The more the sacrifices are bearable. When it's like 2 a.m. and you still need to pay your dues, you still need to get that thing done that you said you were going to do, to send those emails. Like having like a strong why is so empowering, man. It can get through.
It is.
You can get through such tumultuous times. And you hear about it from like the top business moguls and like ultra marathoners, is they have a strong why. Not everyone, because certainly there's just some people that just want to do it. You know, they don't really reflect much. Even Jocko, you know Jocko, the big Navy SEAL guy, he wrote Extreme Ownership.
Yeah.
He said like in the Navy, there's guys that have, you know, why do you do this? Because they want to prove everyone wrong who doubted them. They were bullied. They want to be able to be resilient and prove that they are hard as shit. And then there's some guys that are just like, oh, I just felt like doing it. You know, seemed like fun.
Yeah.
But I'd say more often than not, though, having that why can get you through the worst of times, because like things will come, like difficult times will come, and whether it be tomorrow, whether it be in 10 years, they'll come for you. It comes for everyone, right? Like it doesn't from hearing all these people, all these different backgrounds and niches and their passions. Like I've learned that no matter how rich you are, no matter how fit you are, the barbarians will come. You know, they'll come knocking on your door. And if you're not prepared, if you don't got that why, if you don't have your walls fortified, you're going to fall and you're going to crumble. I don't know. What's your why?
Man, I have many whys, but honestly, my why is my fear of failure. And I want to build a life where I can be financially free and I can enjoy and I can build a family. And my fear is like, if I don't achieve all that, then what is the purpose? And to me, my why, like I said, it's a fear of failure is my why. That my why is I don't want to be that failure. I want to be successful. I don't want to just sit around and do nothing, because to me, that's pointless. To me, you need to have very big goals and be very driven and shoot for the stars. And that's really my why. That why would I be anything less?
Yeah, become the best version that you can be.
Exactly.
I always think of this cliche of what if you took every single opportunity, and if you said yes to that, you're most likely lying, because there's days where your emotions take over. You don't show up for that workout because it's just, you don't want to. You don't show up for that meeting that could have changed your life. You don't study for that test. You don't knock on that door because you just don't feel like it, right? There's all these missed opportunities. And what if you just did it? You gave it your very best every single day. And I wish I could say that was the case for me, but it's not, because I get plagued with insecurity and doubt and guilt and shame and just lack of sleep. And I want to keep pushing, but at the same time, you know, there's just things holding me back, you know, which I wish it wasn't the case. And you've watched Marvel movies, right?
Oh yeah.
Like Endgame and all that, and like ideas of like the metaverse or the multiverse, where in everything is a possibility. Like there's all these different versions of you out there. Let's say it was real. There's an Alex there that's homeless. There's one out there who's the richest man in the world. There's one out there who's a doctor. There's one out there who's in the military. You know, and if I always think that, am I the best version out there? Like, let's say there's a billion different, I'm sure there's more than that, infinite. Like, can I say I'm the very best version of myself in all these possible realms? Like, no, betcha I'm just in the middle. You know what I mean? I'm just the average guy there. And it goes back to like you versus you, you know? And how can I one up myself? Like, how can I keep on going? And I always, like last night I was just eating dinner, you know, just reflecting. And I'm like, is this the life I want to live in? Is this like, how can I be better? You know, how can I improve? Oh, like maybe I'll get 30 minutes more of sleep. Maybe I'll pray. Maybe I'll journal, right? Maybe I can have a lot more gusto, a lot more drive when I do talk. Maybe I won't doubt myself, right? So there's all this different mental frameworks, right, that we can embody and that we can use to propel ourselves. And you know, David Goggins is a big idol of mine, and
yeah,
you know, this is a guy that's like seen the worst of the worst, but he still made it work, You know? Like, I bet you that guy is the best version of all the different multiverse
Yeah.
realms. Many people struggle with balancing ambition and burnout. How do you manage your energy and stay focused without losing passion?
Yeah. I really think that like it's hard, to stay focused on things, especially long term. And like when things are going good, it's easy. But when things are hard, it's really hard. And I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying before, that if you really like emphasize that, okay, these things worked in the past, and you look back at the things that really, fulfilled you from what you did, and you use that as motivation to yourself, momentum. I really think that can help you push through any obstacle. I think building momentum off of past experiences can help you overcome any current obstacles that's, at hand. And mindsets are mindsets, but they change. And if you're able to change your own mindset by, reflecting on things and building up belief in yourself, I really don't think there's anything that could really pull you back.
Yeah. There's all these possible iterations, right? Of just, like I could have chosen that, but I could have chosen this. And it's reflecting on what worked and what didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going back to just trying, man. You know, just try. Because inaction is also a choice, right? And by taking action, you can reflect on it after. Did it work? No, it didn't. Okay, maybe I'll try a different route. And then you got to actively reflect on that too. Why am I doing that? Is it actually effective?
Yeah.
It's all these different things that come out at us, right? And it's chaotic. But you do what you can to muster up courage and propel yourself to new levels. Do you ever struggle with doubt? No, because I know you've, like, in 5 months and building it up to $100,000 revenue. I bet you there was a lot of times where it was just sleepless, and there's a lot of doubt. Like, what's something that either a memory or self-talk that you keeps coming back?
Yeah. There's been many doubts. There was even a doubt we had a few weeks ago, just because of winter coming. We didn't know what to do. But there's a particular memory I'll never forget. And it was the feeling of excitement and unknown when we first started this business. When me and my business partner, Isaac, first started this business, we had to go on a drive out to BC to go pick up a bunch of equipment for our business. And I just remember the feeling on this drive. We're driving. I mean, it's a beautiful drive going through the mountains and everything, but I had never been so excited in my entire life for like anything ever. And it was so scary at the same time too. I didn't really touch on this before, but when I stopped working for solar, like I had 1 month basically to make this business work and pay my rent. And it was so scary, but at the same time, it was so motivating because there was no one to stop me but myself. So
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, thank you. But no, man, like I look back on this all the time. Like me and Isaac, we talk about this on a weekly basis. Like it was something I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Like I remember so much of that road trip in so much detail. And it was a feeling that, I really hope I can, keep having again. But yeah, it's so motivating to me, like just looking back on that memory and, to where it's come, and that, it did pay off, that leap I took, that risk, that it was worth it. Right. And like, not to say like everything's amazing. Like there's obviously things in the business that don't always work, but I think we've really come a long way, and that feeling really, that it actually happened.
Yeah. the struggle alone is enough to fill a man's heart.
Yeah.
I always like when you look back into like the years of struggle, man, like that fear, like it's almost we kind of romanticize it, right? I'm
Mhm.
like, man, I was like so miserable, right? But now I know I can get through it. Like I know, like, am I gonna be able to pay that? Like, what's my family gonna think? What are they gonna say about me? What am I gonna say about myself? Is this the right choice? But then a year later, you're like, wow, I got through it. And you kind of like talking about it with your buddy, right? It's like,
Mhm.
wow, we did it, man.
Yeah.
And that's they say one of the closest relationships formed are that of military people, like because they go through such tumultuous times, such misery, and after they get out of it, it's like you form such a phenomenal relationship. And I'm sure, like you and your buddy,
Yeah.
your business partner, like you guys probably form such a close bond after being in the unknown, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, me and Isaac, he's my business partner. I don't know if I mentioned his name, but we become really close. And a lot of it's because of the business, a lot of it's because of outside of business, but we both had the same goals. We both took the same risk. Like he was working for the government. He quit his job to go all in with this on me. And, it's because we were such like-minded people in that sense, as I was talking with like solar and how I've loved that type of environment, it really allowed us to clash our minds together and, produce a business. Because when you're having two people think together, and like really believing in themselves, I really think you can produce a lot, when you have a group of any type of group of people.
True.
Really, clashing their minds, you can really get some great results.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
I mean, when you first started your window cleaning company, what steps did you take to make it stand out from competitors?
Yeah. So when we first started the business, I noticed a few things about the industry. There was no household name. There was no company that, everyone thinks let's hire. Like there's no like Apple for phones, right? There was just a bunch of people who would knock on doors, or a few, you Google up window cleaning, it'd be some small businesses. And I noticed there was a big hole in the industry there. And I noticed that there needs to be like a solution to that there needs to be, a company that when everyone wants this stuff done, they think of. Because, not just, for my own business's sake, but for other people's sake, it's a lot easier if you don't have to go, wait for someone to knock on your door or reach out online. And so that's actually why we named our business Scrubby Dubby. It sounds very corny. It might make you cringe a little, but you'll remember it.
Scrubby Dubby. I'm never
Scrubby-dubby.
forgetting that.
You won't forget it. And like we'll tell people it all the time. They'll chuckle and like all kinds of things, but they'll remember it. And like if we just named our company like Edmonton Exterior Services or whatever, like you go Google that, there's gonna be a million results. You Google Scrubby Dubby, there's no other results. It's just us. And we really realized that it's really important to be personable to your customers. That, as I said before, the difference between a good and a great salesman is you need to tailor yourself to them. So that's kind of the angle we took with our businesses. We aren't just, saying we're just selling window cleaning. We're tailoring it to the customer. We do more than just window cleaning. We're not just a company who does that. We'll come out there, we'll make a genuine connection with the customer. We'll give them advice on their windows, solutions to, prevent it from getting dirtier in the future. And we do more than just window cleaning as well. Like gutter cleaning is a bunch of things that we bring real value to our customers. And I think that was the biggest piece for us, is to actually bring value and not just a simple solution to one thing.
Yeah. Like when you show up there and you just clean their windows, whatever, they'll forget about you.
Yeah.
But then when you go scrubby-dubby. That's kind of gives them a little chuckle.
Yeah.
And then, especially if you're personable there, if you ask about their day, like you're forming a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I've read this this book. It's Why by Simon S. something like that. And with this one airline company, I think it was like South something airline. Like there's people that love the company so much that when it was on the brink of bankruptcy, they'll donate their own money.
Really?
Like that's how much they love this company, like an airline company, because it just made them feel like they were a part of something. You know? When you build a brand and you touch people's lives, like you make an impact, you're not just a company to them. And I've had some the Arizona Tanning, like the two owners on this podcast recently, and yeah, they tell me that some people don't just go in for a tan. It's like a little event for them, almost, you know, and like they show up, and when there's a smile at the door with the receptionist, and then they'll chat for a little bit, like how's the kids, you know, how's your day, or depending on what their archetype is, like if they work out, like how was your workout today, right? And that's what keeps me showing up to the gym, right? Because it's not just the workout, it's the relationships that I've formed. It's like, I wonder how, you know, Jeremy's doing. I wonder how Bobby's doing, right? Like, how do you go about forming these relationships to ensure that they're robust?
Yeah. I really just think like you have to take things down to the individual's level. And what I mean by that is like actually push for conversation, actually push to make a connection. Because a lot of people, when they hire you to do something, and like it's okay, you don't have to talk to them always, but a lot of people they'll just let you do your thing. And actually ask genuine questions. Try and get to know the customer, because when you get to know the customer, they'll start to get to know you. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. Actually, we were working on a home yesterday, and you know, we were just talking about how we started our business to this guy. I believe his name was Dennis. And, you know, Dennis, he had a grandson who had started a business, and he simply, all he did was literally just pick up dog poop. But to Dennis, he felt a connection because his grandson had done the same type of thing. He was hustling, knocking on doors, and we started to build a connection with him. We were talking for a while, and then Dennis, he brought us over to his garage, and he showed us this beautiful car. It was a 1929 Ford Model A. And, you know, me and Dennis, we got to talk about, you know, our shared love for cars. And, you know, he gave me his business card. And then what ended up happening was he referred us to the neighbor next door. And we did the neighbor next door right after that. He called her up. And, you know, I think that was just a perfect example that we made an effort to talk to him. He made an effort to talk to us. We got on a personal level. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure he had some benefit out of that. He had a great conversation, but we did too. We got, you know, another customer. The neighbors got helped out. Like that perfectly shows that the emphasis on how important that is.
Yeah, there's no shortage of success. Everybody can win.
Yeah.
Because there seems to be this narrative of you can only succeed if you step on other people, if you push people lower, if you backbite them, if you try to tarnish their business. Like, yes, that can work, but not everybody wins. You can go about it with the mentality of a rising tide lifts all boats, of your success is my success, your problems are my problems, you know? And if you go about that, everybody can rise together. But because what ends up happening, if you try to put other people down, and like other companies even, or like if you try to just go in there with profit in mind, people will see through that, right? And the sale won't be likely to happen as well, because this guy's just in it for the business, you know? And like nobody actually like says it out loud, but we all, like, a lot of what we do is like vibe architecture. Does this person like have good intentions, right? Is he nice? That's always what what I've realized is no matter how smart you are, no matter how successful you are, if you don't know how to talk to other people, if you don't know how to connect, you're lost in this world, man. Like it's gonna make it much harder. If you're aggressive, if you just see the bad in people, like your likelihood to rise up the ranks in any business is minimal. Unless it's like a dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
Which then you'll just be overthrown sooner or later. How important is it for personal reputation and word of mouth when it comes to building a trustworthy brand in the service industry? Like I know you already talked about getting referred, but do you have more to add?
Yeah. In our industry, it's more important than any other industry, right? Because we're working, not with like big corporations necessarily, but with actual individual people, right? And by making those connections, you don't only just ensure that there's a chance they will refer you to others, you ensure there's a chance you'll get their business again. So like by us building these connections and these relationships with these people, we greatly increase our chances of them being a repeat customer. And obviously that's great for us, we'll make more money, but it gives us the opportunity to then have them, share to others. Because if we're their customer for a while, if they're our customer for a while, they're very likely to, tell their mom, their dad, or other people to start noticing it, right? And there's been many times, and it's some of the best customers we've had that they've referred us 10 plus homes, like they own, a real estate business or a construction business. And a lot of the time it's just through word of mouth. A lot of times it's through what they own. But that's what's been our biggest profits, honestly, has been the times where we've gotten like a massive amount of deals from things. And like if we didn't have that aspect, our business would be nowhere near where it is right now. Especially in October, one of the big issues we had was our reps weren't like knocking anymore because they're in school. So our business like lately has just been fueled off of the word of mouth we had from this summer for the last month.
Yeah. Like loyalty can get you like repeat buys, and word of mouth, it spreads.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in there, if your product is great, like that's one thing, right? You need to have that, because if you're just really great at making connections and your product sucks, people will also not be happy about that. But if you go in there with a smile on your face, you brighten up their day, even if it's just a little bit better, they'll want you to come back.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me like, hey, I know this scrubby dubby, your windows cleaned, there's this. And I know Costco doesn't need ads, right? And you rarely hear bad things about Costco, like, because you always hear about the stories of like, oh, like Walmart, like they have to still work on these days, but like Costco, they respect that their workers have families, and so they're not open on holidays. They give fair vacation times, and for the most part, the people that I've talked to that have worked there are happy.
Yeah.
And the customers are happy too. And when you just devote yourself to ensure that the people are happy, then you can rise together. Everybody can win.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, man. Like, I think like in the scenario where, they get what they want and you get paid for it and you can build a connection, it's awesome. Like, I think it's just so overlooked in the service industry that it's just a one and done. They go, clean your windows, they do gutters, whatever it is, and then that's it. But they're missing the whole emphasis that, so much business and connections gets created by actually understanding the customer and, talking to them and doing above and beyond.
Yeah. Where do you see your brand going in the next few years, and what does long-term success look like to you?
Yeah. we have a very big plan for the next few years that we've really started to build on lately. So right now we did about 500 homes this summer here in Edmonton.
And how much is it per home, the service?
Depends on what they want, but typically around $200.
200. Okay.
Yeah. But our goal is to expand across Western Canada. I already mentioned earlier that there's no household name for what we do. That's not a thing. There's one in the US called Mint. And they are in like Utah, Nevada, and a few places. And they hold a massive part of the industry. And the reason they do is because of the connections and the level and their branding they go with their customers. And we want to be something like that. We're actually contemplating right now, in about a month, moving over to Vancouver and trying to expand our business there as well. But yeah, I'd say my goal in about 2 to 3 years now for the business, we want to be in about 3 different cities, and be doing per city around 1,000 homes consistently. And depends on the city if you can work in the winter. Like Edmonton, we have to shift over to snow removal and Christmas lights. But like for instance, like Vancouver, you can do the same service all year round. And this summer we 3 consecutive months doubled our revenue. Did about 100,000 up to date. My goal for next summer is to do 250,000 and double from there on out for year on out. And I don't really think it's unreasonable to say, because in the day, it's just numbers. It's more houses to knock on, more connections to make, more word of mouth to happen. Yeah, that's kind of like my vision right now for the business.
Mm-hmm. And it seems that you've had remarkable success in the 5 months, right? And you seem to be forward looking and planning all this out. What do you have to say to the people that want to start their business? Like, which business does it even work? Because there's like solar, there's just door to door with pest control, there's being a car salesman. Like, what business? How do you go about starting a business?
Yeah. I think the first thing you need to do to start a business is put yourself it's not an opportunity, in the position where you are able to take a risk. Don't just take a risk and you can't, like, you have no money saved up. I did that and, it worked out, but if it didn't, things would have been a lot different. But put yourself in a position where you can take a risk and go all in on something you like. For instance, with you, I'm sure you're going all in on your podcast, right? It's something you're very passionate about. For me, was my business. But I also do believe, don't stick to just one thing. Like, I started with solar, right? And I'm still in the sales industry, but I'm not still doing solar. So I think you need to find a general niche you're passionate about. So for me, it was sales, and build off that. Find what you're best at and find what you can actually build value in. But at the end of the day, I think most people, like, they have so much potential, but they're just too scared. They're not willing to actually just try it. Put yourself in a position where you can take that risk and take it. And I really think that so many people are just too scared to really just take it. And once you take that step forward, it will motivate you, not just in your own business, but in so many other parts of life, that if you're able to, actually put forward what you want to do, like for so many people, they want to go to the gym, but they never do it, right? They're like, oh, I'm going to go tomorrow. And you keep pushing it off. Just go one day and results will come.
Yeah. I take that first step.
Yeah.
Like, jump off. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Right. If it comes to it, that the worst case scenario, which is very unlikely, you will survive. Like, I think back to the times where I really doubted myself, and I was so scared to do that thing, to show up to the event, to ask that girl out, to hit the workout, finally meet that person, to start this podcast. And had I not taken that step, then we wouldn't be here talking right now. I've met so many phenomenal people throughout the journey, you included. And it's none of this would be possible without taking that first step. How long were you thinking about starting your own business? Is it like spur of the moment? Because in regards to the podcast, it's been in the back of my head for like a year or two.
Right.
Yeah.
Growing up, like I've started a bunch of like little businesses in the past. Like I used to build and sell computers or resell sneakers. But with this business in particular, to be honest with you, it really was a heat of the moment thing. I was working for my buddy's window cleaning company for just 3 days, and I was doing great. But I realized like this is something I can do myself. It's not that crazy to really say, I could go buy this equipment, go drive out to BC, call up a buddy, pool our money together and actually start this. So it was a heat of the moment thing, to be honest with you. But I think that's not really a bad thing for most people. Like, even if it's something that's so new to you, you can still start something, even though you just like got the concept of it. You don't need to prepare forever. You don't need to have everything be perfect before you start. I think just start is the really, really big thing people need to do.
Yeah. There's never going to be a perfect moment.
Yeah.
Prioritizing perfection is futile, because what even is that? Is it when you get 8-9 hours of sleep? Is it when your parents are there to support you? Is it when you feel confident? Like, what doesn't that mean? There's all these excuses that we lay down on ourselves not to do the thing that puts us closer to who we want to be. And you either suffer the pain of regret or discipline. You might as well, you don't want to be too irrational, and it's just, ingrained in you where it's like bad, right? There's these clear bad choices. Like, you probably shouldn't take that drug. It's probably do your research. Maybe you should probably not hang out with those types of people just because they're cool. Probably a bad influence on you. But if it's like a business idea, if it's like starting that workout, if it's net positive and there's actual evidence and you've seen it in other people and they've tried it out, then yeah, travel that path. Start that business. Talk to that person. Right? How do you go about maintaining that level of motivation though? Because it could, after a while, right? There's, no matter how passionate you are, there's going to be times where it's like, I just don't feel like doing it. Like, I know you talked about your why.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there anything else?
That's a hard one. I would really just say, like, it goes back to a lot of how I answered a few of the questions, but just being very content with what you've built, and going back to your whys and being like, okay, or your goals, and being like, okay, I've built this, but what do I really want? What level am I trying to achieve? And by looking at that and seeing the results that you've already, that's already happened, and seeing the place you want to be, I think that really can feel to be like, okay, well, it's already been working. I'm already, one step of the way there. What do I got to do to get to the next step?
Mm-hmm.
But it ties back to a lot of the things before, just really fueling off of your success and building momentum to push you through those times.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like it's never enough though? Like, cause something that I struggle with is once you hit a certain goal, is you don't feel like you really got there. You forget it even happened, right? It's on to the next, and then on to the next, and on to the next, right? Do you ever feel like you're not in the moment at times? And
Yeah.
how do you go about staying present?
Yeah. I get sidetracked so much, like way off of, there'll be all the time, like we'll be working and, we'll make some money, like a decent amount of money that day. And we'll be like, let's go do something else. Let's like, funny enough, I got this tattoo in the middle of a work day. We were doing so well that day. And, as opposed to kept on going, like we went and did something spontaneous. But I also do think like it's important to enjoy what you're earning. Right. So I don't necessarily regret doing something like that in the middle of the day, but just tunnel vision, I think, just staying on the same track, and maintaining focus on it. And yeah, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there,
Like
but
staying present.
yeah,
Yeah.
staying present in the moment. Yeah.
Okay. So like rewarding yourself,
Mhm.
even when with all this success, like if you have a day where you are putting out good numbers, because it becomes normalized, right?
Yeah.
Like when the bar moves up, that's your new goal, or that's your new norm.
Mm-hmm.
When like you hit the gym, right? Yeah.
I'm starting to
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah.
Well, when they're when you got a guy and he hit like a 135 on bench press, like he's so happy at the start, right? And I finally hit a plate.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, it's just you've already done that before.
Yeah.
Or like a guy in 225, and then Hormozy has this idea. Alex Hormozy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where,
Big fan.
He said that the worst thing that could happen to you is winning the lottery, because compared to that day, every other day will just be mundane. Which got me thinking. I'm like, thank goodness I haven't won the lottery, because to reach that bar requires another bar, like higher. You need to be able to win 2 lotteries, right? And even then, you have to keep on setting that bar higher and higher. And it's good to just zoom out or zoom and then go, like I need to or zoom in, and I need to be able to like recognize that I did go to the gym when I was like very, very tired. I did earn that revenue even when I didn't feel like it that day. I got out of bed. I ate healthy. It's like recognizing that little things. And if you can't be happy with a cup of coffee, you can't be happy on a yacht, So it's recognizing that, yes, you want to improve, but also that you've already won.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. Like rewarding yourself for your success, but also staying like on the right path, like not going too sidetracked, but like also appreciating, what you're building.
Because we get so sidetracked on like the end goal.
Yeah.
But like 99% of everything that we do is the progress. It's 1% of getting that sale, of having that speech, winning that medal. And when you just think about the medal, when all you think about is the end goal, you forget the journey. But yeah, man, do you have any last words for young entrepreneurs out there watching this?
Man, just get started. Like take that risk. I was saying it before. It was the best thing I could have done in my entire life. And don't let others' opinions affect you. Believe in yourself. Follow your gut, and just take that risk.
And yeah, man, as thank you so much for coming on the long-term podcast.
Yeah.
I think for 5 months, you've definitely been putting in the work. Dinkar recommended you to come on, and I'm so thankful. I can't wait to what the future holds for you. I know it's going to be something beautiful. And I think your plans of expanding to Western Canada and moving to Vancouver, dude, I'm immensely excited for you. I think you'll do phenomenal.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
We'll have to run it back again in the future.
We got to do it.
Yeah. Once you're in the millions.
Hopefully. We're hoping, but
Yeah, dude. Reach for the stars, eh?
yeah, aim for high.
Yeah. And as always, to everyone listening and watching, there is a place for you in this chaotic world. Never lose hope, strengthen your faith, and keep it long term. Alex Wyner.
Yeah, you got
Everyone.
it.
Sweet. Yeah. Peace.
That's it, brother. Awesome, man.
And then